Good evening, I'm Ian Hanomansing. Tonight, an urgent warning from the country's top doctors. They're planning for the worst this fall, a COVID caseload that would dwarf what we saw in the spring.
It doesn't take much for things to escalate.
Are we ready? She became a symbol of Lebanon's protest movement. CBC News confirms that one of the youngest victims of the Beirut explosion is Canadian.
I was just next to her when she took her last breath.
Her family's message to the world. The president and the post office. As preparations begin for mail-in ballots, Donald Trump threatens to withhold cash on delivery. And the BC Premier gets a message from a Canadian superhero.
Hey, Premier Horgan, Ryan Reynolds here.
This is The National. We got a sobering look today at how bad this pandemic could get by the fall. The Public Health Agency of Canada releasing new modeling. It's not a prediction of what will happen, but a warning of what could if we aren't careful. You can see the spring spike there, completely overshadowed by a potentially huge fall surge if, as people go back to school and work, detecting cases, contact tracing, physical distancing, and hygiene measures aren't strong enough. David Thurton takes us through it.
The idea is to plan for something that's at least several times worse than your previous experience.
It's not the message Canadians want to hear, but it's one Canada's top doctor says they need to listen to.
Right now, I think on the whole, we are on that slow burn kind of trajectory, but it doesn't take much for things to escalate.
Health officials are trying to avoid a new wave this fall that's several times higher than the first, overwhelming hospitals with smaller echoes to follow. This after weeks of warnings from public health officials underlining more cases among young adults.
There are still some of the population that are not observing some of these rules or public health advice, and so we can always do better.
The projected peak lands in the middle of back to school and coincides with the cold and flu season.
So planning for that potential convergence of the viral activity is something that we're actively doing as well.
How to keep it in check without another lockdown? Quick testing and isolation, quick contact tracing and quarantines, wearing a mask, and keeping apart. So, is Canada ready?
In many parts of Canada, during the first wave, there certainly were issues with diagnostic testing capacity, contact tracing. There certainly were some issues with those. It appears that much of that has been ironed out. It's unlikely that we will see issues with that, but it is certainly still possible.
How severe it will be depends on everyone's actions. David Thurton, CBC News, Ottawa.
Let's take a look at some of the COVID-19 hotspots in Canada today. Manitoba reporting 40 cases. That ties its highest one-day count. BC with 84 new cases, continuing to push the curve higher. As health officers warn, we could see a second wave bigger than the first. This weekend, public health officers will be out checking on parties in large venues here in British Columbia to try to make sure the COVID-19 rules are being followed. As Tina Lovegreen explains, it's part of a plan to try to put a cap on rising cases that appear to be stretching part of the system.
Frustration, as one after another, people eager to get a COVID test are turned away, hours before it's supposed to close.
They're at capacity and we have to go to another site.
Like, it's only been 45 minutes since the opening and things are already overwhelmed.
This woman who drove here to get a test decided to ditch the car and wait in the pedestrian lineup.
This was about half as long when I drove by. Mind you, it hasn't moved in 30 minutes, so I guess we'll see what happens.
Made it. Where's the wait?
BC's cases are trending upward, but officials are confident in their ability to trace them.
The vast majority of cases are through chains of transmission that we know about. And so someone's exposed to a case and then they get tested positive. And we know about that chain at the public health level, which makes it a lot easier to track and trace. Obviously, resources to track and trace are significant.
The province is hiring 500 more contact tracers to keep that going, but they won't be in place until September.
Which buys us a little bit of time.
But experts say behavior needs to change.
Just like a thermostat would turn off your heater whenever the temperature gets too high, that's what we're doing with COVID. Whenever the COVID numbers get too high, we need to reduce our movement rates and our contact rates.
And to get the message to young people, BC's premier made a desperate plea to a local superhero.
This is a call out to Deadpool right now. Ryan, we need your help up here.
The Vancouver-born actor didn't miss a beat.
Hey, Premier Horgan, Ryan Reynolds here. I got your message about the thing. BC that's home to some of the coolest older people on earth. But here's the thing. I hope that young people in BC don't kill my mom, frankly, or David Suzuki, or each other.
So next time you want to go party,
think about your mom. Think about Ryan's mom. Think about David Suzuki and all of the elders in our community.
Tina Lovegreen, CBC News, Vancouver.
As you heard, Manitoba is also dealing with a spike in cases, the highest since early April. That has the province's chief medical officer calling on the public to step up.
We've lost some sight of our fundamentals. These cases should be a reminder that this virus is still here, that we're not done with this.
Also concerning for the officials, the average number of close contacts for each person is also on the rise. So people are seeing more people. The province's worst outbreak remains in Brandon, which currently has 90 active cases. Many of them are linked to a Maple Leaf plant. 550 people who were in a Toronto strip club earlier this month are being warned that they may have been exposed to COVID-19. And as Vicadopia explains, tracing those contacts is proving difficult.
The brass rail has been in trouble before. It defied a city ban on lap dances 20 years ago, eventually getting it overturned. Now it's in trouble again for breaking infection prevention rules.
It does require maintaining physical distance, and where physical distance is not possible, to have a barrier like a plexiglass in place. They did not meet all those requirements.
Health officials were alerted to violations after an employee tested positive for COVID-19 within days of the club reopening. Officials won't say what the worker's job is, only they may have come in contact with more than 500 customers.
It also shows you in a crowd like that how easy it could be to spread the virus and get us right back to where we were, and none of us want to go there.
A complicating factor for contact tracing, alerting customers who didn't all leave detailed contact information in violation of reopening rules. Not a surprise for an industry that faces stigma.
We don't want people to have to lie about their engagement in the industry.
This strip club dancer says she doesn't feel safe yet to go back to work, but understands why others are.
In every industry, there are people who are, not eligible for CERB, for instance, or for EI, who need to make money right now in order to survive, who are potentially facing evictions as the winter approaches.
Across Canada, outbreaks are increasingly tied to the reopening of bars, restaurants, and strip clubs.
The active opening of these establishments, we are going to see outbreaks that are happening, and that can lead to more community transmission and cause a very real problem. This has happened in other places.
Despite the violations, the brass rail remains open, but public health officials say they will monitor the club's conduct closely. Vicadopia, CBC News, Toronto.
When it comes to planning how schools will reopen, Ontario's remains contentious. The government gave up some ground today. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson shows us why that changed very little.
But I'll pass over to the Minister of Education.
It's the latest chapter in the now familiar story. The Education Minister announces new measures.
We're allowing them to stagger the start for the first week, meaning if they want to do kindergarten and grade 1 on day 1 and then introduce the grade 2s and 3s on the next day and sort of build that up to Friday.
But he fails to satisfy many parents.
It's the right start, but it's not enough. Do you want to do one at the same time?
Susan Chang is the mother of 7-year-old Connor.
It's just too fast. A week is nothing. What we need is at least a month until we've got the ventilation systems in place, until we've decided what to do with the classrooms.
The major bone of contention remains class sizes. The top demand of parents and teachers is also the most expensive to implement.
The province allocated $30 million for extra teachers to be hired across Ontario, plus whatever money the boards can afford to pull from their reserve funds. But in Toronto Public Schools alone, the board says limiting elementary school classes to 15 kids would cost $250 million.
Teachers' unions are keeping pressure high. Yesterday, 4 of the biggest ones alleged the back-to-school plan violates Ontario's Health and Safety Act.
Specifically, workers have a right to be safe in their work environment, and employers have a responsibility to put protections in place.
The outlier seems to be the teacher unions obstructing and ultimately opposing.
If we can get along with everyone else in the country, why can't the teachers union get along with us?
But in the politics of it all, parents like Susan Chang say their voice is not being heard.
They need to have a town hall and listen to the concerns and suggestions of both the teachers and the parents.
Anxiety rising higher as the school year draws nearer. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.
Calgary's school boards have tightened the rules around masks, in part because the city has the most cases in the province.
We really value the input of our stakeholders, and our stakeholders have clearly told us that they would like to see mandatory mask wearing from kindergarten to grade 12.
That measure goes well beyond provincial rules. Alberta doesn't require masks once a class is seated or for any students in lower grades. More stringent rules were also announced today in Nova Scotia.
Students in grades 4 to 11 will now be expected to wear non-medical masks while at school, except when they are sitting at their desks, and only if those desks are 2 meters apart.
So distancing is key. Under Nova Scotia's previous guidelines, only high school students had to wear masks. The minister said there is a contingency plan in case COVID-19 spreads, send older students home, and spread out desks for the younger ones who remain. Canada and the United States have agreed to extend the current border closure until September 21st. Canada's chief public health officer said the federal government will continue to monitor caseloads in both countries before making a decision moving forward. The land border has been closed except for essential travel since March. Ottawa is still warning Canadians to avoid all non-essential travel outside of the country. Thousands of people have crossed that border seeking refugee status in this country, and now a government program is rewarding some for their work on the front lines of the COVID-19 pandemic. Those who worked in patient care are being made eligible for permanent residency. But as Alison Northcott tells us, some say the program should apply to more people.
It's like you're living day by day. You don't know what's going to happen.
Gael works as an orderly in a private seniors home. We've agreed not to use her last name because her immigration status isn't settled yet. She came here as an asylum seeker originally from Haiti. Today, she says she feels some relief.
I'm happy. Those past months, they were very, very hard. The wait was painful and very stressful. And now I think it's like a door opening to a brighter future for me.
There are many asylum seekers working in the healthcare sector on the front lines of the pandemic.
As these individuals face an uncertain future in Canada, the current circumstances merit exceptional measures.
After pressure from several groups, Canada's immigration minister announced help for those working in patient care.
A one-time measure that will provide a specific pathway to permanent residence for asylum claimants working in Canada's healthcare sector.
When everybody stayed home, they were outside working, risking their lives.
Across from Justin Trudeau's Montreal office, this protest camp has been set up since Sunday. Wilner Cayo says the new measures shouldn't be limited to healthcare workers because it leaves other essential workers in jobs like food services and security out.
The government takes some workers and left a lot of them in this state of anxiety.
Ottawa's original vision of the plan included a longer list of eligible workers, but after negotiations with Quebec, the final list was limited. Today, Premier François Legault said he's pleased with the outcome for those who benefit.
Those NGOs, I appreciate very much the work they did and the risk they took.
While some advocates say this is good news for some asylum seekers, they will continue to press the government to recognize more of them in the same way. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Montreal.
Ottawa has announced help for Canadian survivors of last week's devastating Beirut explosion, creating a task force to bring those to Canada who want to return. And earlier tonight, the Prime Minister also issued a statement of condolence to the families of 2 Canadians known to have died. One of them, a little girl. Ellen Morrow is learning more about how her tragic death is galvanizing a growing protest movement.
I was just next to her when she took her last breath.
The devastation of these parents so raw and only just beginning. They lost their daughter, Alexandra Najjar, just 3 years old in Beirut's devastating blast. She was a Canadian citizen. As the explosion tore through their home, Alexandra's mother, a former Montrealer, shielded her daughter with her body, but it wasn't enough.
I didn't know that she was hit before in the head, so that's it.
Alexandra, immortalized in these pictures with her father, is now a symbol of the disaster's staggering toll and the anger at the negligence that led to it. Anti-government protesters hold her photo in the streets as they march for justice. And her likeness floods the country's social media. Alexandra, now dubbed the Angel of Beirut.
My only hope today is that the fact that we lost a child is a wake-up call for all Lebanese people and expats and international people to just help us save this country.
Across the city, the destruction is seemingly endless. So is the mourning, more than 200 dead and an estimated 300,000 displaced, a third of them children.
People are without houses today, lost friends, families, children.
As they grapple with that same loss, the Najjar's only solace is that Alexandra's death has helped push the movement for change.
What happened was very hard for us. It was a crime, but let's hope it's a crime that will help us turn around things in Lebanon and, get our country back.
As they learn to live without their daughter. Ellen Morrow, CBC News, Toronto.
Officials say a deadly car explosion in Kitchener appears to have involved an explosive device.
Look at the smoke. Oh my gosh.
That heavy smoke outside the Kitchener courthouse this morning. Police confirming a person was found dead inside the vehicle and that the explosive disposal unit has been helping with the investigation. A teenager has been sentenced in the stabbing death of Devon Selvey, the Hamilton teen killed outside his high school last October. The 18-year-old, who can't be named, will serve 15 months of probation after pleading guilty to the unauthorized possession of a weapon. Now, another teenager is charged with first-degree murder and will appear in court in November. New Brunswick is on course to hold Canada's first election during the pandemic. That's despite the fact that very few voters seem to want one. Harry Forrestel shows us why it may just happen anyway.
As he took off his mask to use the mic, it was clear Kevin Vickers wasn't happy. After 3 days of negotiations, the grim-faced Liberal leader explained why his party abandoned the talks.
We were told, threatened, that if it had not been completed by the end of today, an election would be called. This was a negotiation of having a gun to your head. It's totally unacceptable.
The stated goal of Progressive Conservative Premier Blaine Higgs was to avoid an election in the midst of a pandemic, to work with opposition leaders drafting policy all parties could support. But the plan also guaranteed his minority government as much as 2 more years in power. Even so, the other 2 parties seemed keen to continue.
We went in there with an open mind and in good faith to try to move New Brunswick forward and to avoid an election. But I was skeptical that that's what the Liberals were there to do.
We had fascinating discussions to try and see where we might get. But in the end, it didn't work.
With the Liberals now out, it's up to Premier Blaine Higgs to call an election or maintain the status quo.
Well, it's very disappointing to be standing here at this point in time. I expected to be working most of the night and the weekend, and so now I'm thinking about next steps.
A poll out today shows a majority of voters oppose a fall election. The Narrative Research survey of 1,000 New Brunswickers found just 33% want to vote, while 52% are mostly or completely opposed. The Premier remains in a ticklish position. If he calls an election, he risks angering New Brunswickers, and if he doesn't, the government still has to hold 2 by-elections that could loosen his minority grip on power. Higgs says he'll take the next 2 days to consider his options. Harry Forrestal, CBC News, Fredericton.
A warning tonight from the U.S. Postal Service that could have big consequences on election night.
You can be sure that tens of millions of ballots will not be counted on November 3rd.
Next on The National, Donald Trump's campaign against mail-in voting. A new venue for live music. Big stars are performing concerts in video games and fans love it.
I literally felt like I was going to cry.
Happy birthday to you. Have a great time.
And she's 90 years old and flying high. Why this is a dream come true. We're back in 2. Welcome back. The pandemic has millions of Americans getting ready to cast their vote at the mailbox instead of the ballot box. But the president is spoiling for a fight against the post office. He's threatening to withhold cash. And now the Postal Service says it may not be able to deliver those ballots on time. Stephen D'Souza explains why.
Americans have voted by mail since the Civil War with no cases of large-scale fraud. But to hear Donald Trump tell it, the Postal Service is a prime target for foreign interference.
Because they can be forged, they can be captured, they can be taken.
In the midst of a pandemic, with fears that long lines at polling places could spread the coronavirus, more and more states are turning to mail-in ballots. The president claims, without evidence, that will bring fraud. Yesterday, he said he opposed additional funding for the post office, acknowledging the money would help deal with the extra mail.
If we don't make a deal, that means they don't get the money. That means they can't have universal mail-in voting.
He's since walked that back, saying he's willing to free up the money, part of a stalled stimulus bill, if the Democrats cave to Republican demands.
I would certainly do that, sure.
Critics say Trump is really afraid those envelopes will hold millions of votes for Joe Biden.
He's been afraid for a while. He knows that on the legit, it'd be hard for him to win. So he wants to put obstacles of participation.
Some Democrats also fear the Trump administration is dismantling the service itself, with a Republican and Trump donor as Postmaster General, overseeing massive cuts.
Roughly half of Americans are afraid of whether their ballots are going to be counted and whether there's going to be a free and fair election in the fall.
The post office has warned 46 states there's no guarantee votes will make it in time. So while November 3rd may be election day, it may not be results day.
You can be sure that tens of millions of ballots will not be counted on November 3rd. And so if it is close on election night, then we should expect this to go into overtime.
And while Trump condemns universal mail-in ballots, this week he and wife Melania requested their absentee ballots, preparing for a third time to vote by mail in Florida. Stephen D'Souza, CBC News, New York.
In California tonight, crews are battling multiple wildfires. One of them is raging near a community an hour north of Los Angeles. It started Wednesday and has forced hundreds of people from their homes. No deaths have been reported. Officials warn more fires could erupt as a statewide heat wave keeps temperatures up and humidity down. Long lines to enter the UK as thousands of Britons cut their vacation short and scramble to return home. They're trying to avoid a new 14-day quarantine imposed on those arriving from France and a few other holiday destinations. The British Transport Minister says it's the right thing to do amid a recent surge in coronavirus cases. And this was a moment of calm amid the growing protest in Belarus. Riot police embracing anti-government demonstrators, a stark contrast to numerous violent protests seen since last Sunday's presidential election. The re-election of Alexander Lukashenko was condemned internationally as neither free nor fair. The exiled opposition leader has called for peaceful rallies across Belarus over the weekend. Still ahead, changing the retail playing field.
I think most small business owners have accepted the existence of Amazon, and it is the thing that prevents true thriving for them.
What the latest investigation into Amazon could mean for Canadian businesses, and why Apple and Google banned one of the world's most popular video games. The Fortnite battle explained. Next. Online shopping has skyrocketed during the pandemic, but today, a potential hurdle for one of the biggest players. Canada's competition watchdog is investigating Amazon.ca for conduct that might be harming Canadian businesses by breaking the rules. Katie Nicholson has more.
Ask an independent Toronto bookstore owner what Amazon means to him. He doesn't hold back.
Small business owners have accepted the existence of Amazon, and it is the thing that prevents true thriving for them.
He welcomes the Competition Bureau investigation announced this morning into whether Amazon is engaging in anti-competitive practices, like influencing what prices third-party sellers can charge on their own websites, or trying to encourage online shoppers to buy Amazon's own products over those offered by other sellers. The Canadian Federation of Independent Business also welcomes this investigation, especially now.
During the pandemic, of course, Amazon got a giant leg up because, of course, with the need for physical distancing and the fact that small retailers were essentially shut down for many, many months.
In a statement to CBC News, Amazon said it is cooperating with the Competition Bureau's review, and it continues to work hard to support small and medium-sized businesses who sell in our Canadian store.
Yeah, is Amazon an angel? No, they're not an angel. But are they any different than any other big retailer? I would suggest not.
This retail analyst has kept close watch on how other countries have tried to curtail the online giant's dominance.
So far, the fines that have been imposed on these folks have been chump change.
Case in point, if the investigation finds Amazon has broken any Canadian competition rules, it could face just a $10 million fine, a drop in the bucket for this trillion-dollar company. But welcome all the same by the Davids to Amazon's Goliath.
Even if the fine might be small, it's a step, right?
The Competition Bureau is asking small businesses who've had dealings with Amazon to make the next step and get in touch. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Toronto.
Tech giants Apple and Google are also being accused of unfair practices, specifically how they're taking on the company behind the smash hit Fortnite. Epic Games is casting itself as the scrappy underdog. Thomas Dagla takes us inside the battle.
What began as a free-to-download video game has turned into a cultural phenomenon. Fortnite boasts 350 million players worldwide, a multi-billion-dollar empire, and those real-world dances popularized in Fortnite's virtual world. Now the makers of the game are going to court, taking on Apple and Google, calling them behemoths that block competition and stifle innovation.
Being able to make a dent into incredibly powerful companies the way that Epic Games is trying to, I think would be beneficial.
For the company behind Fortnite, the moneymaker is in-game purchases. Players spend so-called V-Bucks on upgrades and character modifications. Buying V-Bucks on mobile phones used to be done through Apple and Google, which usually took a 30% cut. But now Epic Games is trying to eliminate the middlemen. The makers of streaming service Spotify and dating app Hinge joined in too, sending support for the fight against Apple and Google's dominance.
This is an historical moment for monetization in video games and privatization of video games, and even online stores and distribution of digital content.
The tech giants fired back, removing Fortnite from their app stores, making updates unavailable on iPhones and Android devices. Things got personal when Epic Games took a famous Apple commercial and made a parody, framing the tech titan as a monopolistic monster and calling on gamers to hashtag free Fortnite.
I'm worried but curious to see what players are going to do with that. Players won't be able to update the game in a couple weeks when the new season comes if, Apple and Epic can't reach a solution.
All the companies involved are losing potential profits in the meantime, while the pandemic sees consumers spending even more time and money on video games than usual. Thomas Dagler, CBC News, Toronto.
When we come back, making sense of back-to-school regulations, from masks to physical distancing, what you need to know to keep your kids safe. The doctors are here to tell us what to watch for. And later, how live music became pixelated. The new virtual festivals bringing fans together. But first, Britain's Captain Tom Moore captured global affection, raising money for his 100th birthday walk for the National Health Service. He was knighted by the Queen, given an honorary promotion to colonel, and now another honor. An official portrait in the National Army Museum in London, marking his contribution to Britain's battle against COVID-19. Captain Tom hoped to raise £1,000 by his 100th birthday on April 30th. His final tally, 32 million, a testament to the power of positivity at any age.
The sun will shine on you again and the clouds will go away.
Welcome back. School shopping for kids will look a little different this year. Alongside pencils and notebooks, a lot of people will be packing masks and hand sanitizer. We know a lot of people connected to schools, parents, students, teachers are eager for the best medical information on masks and on children spreading the virus. So let's check in with two infectious disease specialists, Dr. Lenora Saxinger and Dr. Zane Chagla. And I know to both of you, these things keep changing, the analysis, the data, so let's keep that in mind. And let's start with masks, a difficult topic. Dr. Saxinger, how effective are masks in keeping schools safe from COVID?
I think that's the million-dollar question. I think a lot of us think that masks are plausibly going to be useful, but we would never want to rely on them instead of the other measures like reducing contact numbers, increasing physical distance, washing your hands a lot, having good ventilation in the space, and all of those things, because we don't know the degree to which masks might offset the risk of infection in the classroom. So I think a lot of us are looking for more data to evolve to help us see how much masks add and if they can actually replace those other measures. At the moment, we can't say. And we also have to keep in mind that masks can be a bit of a detriment to communication as well, and that's sometimes important in schools too. Dr. Chagla, why don't you weigh in on this?
Yeah, I agree with Dr. Saxinger. There's a hierarchy of infection control measures in hospitals and in healthcare settings, and similarly in schools. Preventing and screening people for COVID-19 and keeping community rates are low are probably at the biggest end of that pyramid. The ventilation, the cohorting in the classroom, the distancing are kind of in the middle. And then kind of on the top of that pyramid, that little bit left, there is the masks, which may offer some benefit, but without those big pieces underneath, they're not effective on their own. And really, they should be a part of that bundled set. Those need to be optimized before masking is considered as part of it. So they may offer a bit of benefit. There's school systems that have used them, and there's school systems that haven't, and both have had successful stories. But certainly, as part of that bundle, it could be considered as another step.
Dr. Chagla, let's talk about another big topic that a lot of parents hear kind of conflicting messages on, and that is the extent to which kids, especially kids under the age of 12, are susceptible to getting COVID-19 and spreading it. What do we know about that kind of as of this week?
Yeah, this is obviously evolving through the outbreak. And I think at the beginning, we saw children, very minimal amount of children infected when the outbreak was mainly in China and Italy. As it's progressed, we are seeing children affected. I think the data still shows that children are getting it less than adults, that they're less complicated than adults, other than some rare children that get some complications, and that they're less spreaders than adults. Adolescents probably do approach adults in terms of their ability to spread, but those younger children are probably less so in that sense. The question is when you start schools, when you have young children together and there's potentially transmission in the schools, how does that affect the population in terms of transmission in a bigger level? And does that dampening down of less effect of transmission or less effect of transmitting to others have big population effects, or is it very localized to little school outbreaks?
And Dr. Saxinger, what's your opinion on this issue of kids under 12?
Well, I think that kind of comes down to a question of, for parents, do you feel like you're putting your kid at risk by sending them to school? And I think in a lot of places, school probably should have a similar safety profile to the rest of the community. And so if your community is okay, your school's probably okay. The difference is that there's more people together in a space. It is unusual, but it appears to be true that kids are a little less likely to acquire severe disease and a little less likely to spread disease than other respiratory viruses, where usually they're completely the plague rats and they spread everything. So that's a bit of an unusual feature, and I think we're going to have to keep on reviewing data as it comes in. But I don't think schools will likely be a big risk to children. I do think that we're going to be paying attention to whether or not having schools open influences or amplifies disease in the communities around the schools as well. So that's going to have to be sorted out as we work through it. I think it'll be an evolution of understanding over the fall.
I want to squeeze one more topic in here. We only have about a minute, but the actor Ryan Reynolds sent a message to the people of British Columbia. Let's play some of that.
I hope that young people in BC don't kill my mom, frankly, or David Suzuki, or each other. My mom, she doesn't want to be cooped up in her apartment all day. She wants to be out there cruising Kitsilano Beach looking for some young 30-something Abercrombie burnout to go full Mrs. Robinson on.
We have probably only about 20 seconds for each of you, but let me start with you, Dr. Saxinger. How concerned should we be by the increase in the number of cases we're seeing in BC and I think in Edmonton as well?
Yeah, Edmonton and BC are both kind of hotspots right now, and I think that we're thinking a lot of that is due to probably more socialization and mostly in younger people. And that is a concern because it makes me feel like there's a simmering pot that could boil over, and we know that when COVID boils over, it can be very severe. It can really take off quickly. So I think we have to look at measures to go back to the basics and do them very, very well to prevent further community spread and get a lid on it before schools are due to start. I think that's very important. 20
seconds, last word to you, Dr. Chagla.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a high-risk population that we're struggling to deal with public messaging. Ryan Reynolds today is a fantastic example of how public messaging actually can work. I think all of us looked at that, had a good laugh, but had a good shake of our heads in terms of transmission in that age group. So I think innovation, like thinking outside of the box and having folks like this actually speak up may actually be great to help dampen the spread in that population.
Well, I really appreciate you and the other infectious disease doctors stepping forward and helping us understand the changing environment here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All the best.
COVID-19 has taken more than 9,000 lives in this country. Antonio Chavarelli was one of them. And tonight, his daughter Laura remembers him and the kindness he brought with him everywhere he went.
My name is Laura Chavarelli. My father, Antonio Chavarelli, died of COVID on April 21st. He was 88 years old. My father was born in a small town in the Abruzzo region of Italy. A friend of his knew my mother, who had already immigrated to Canada, and thought that they would make a good match. After sharing photos and letters, they married by proxy. In 1956, my father arrived in Canada and met his beautiful bride in person for the first time. My father was a kind and generous soul, and he brought with him the traditions of winemaking and tomato canning and vegetable gardening. He loved to spend time outdoors in his fruit and vegetable garden, and he was known for his most amazing tomatoes. My parents one summer traveled to Italy and left me to take care of the garden. I overwatered it, and needless to say, we had no tomatoes that year. And I remember my father just shaking his head and smiling and telling me it was okay. His kindness and his generosity was felt by everyone who knew him. He would greet you with a huge smile and a contagious chuckle. He shared his food and his wine, and he sent you home with a big basket of fresh produce from his garden. My sister and I learned the value of hard work and determination, but most importantly, he taught us kindness and giving and how it leads to a happy and healthy life. In the last few days, we were lucky that we could video conference with him and spend his last moments with him. We will miss him so much.
We've gathered more stories of Canadians lost to COVID-19 on our website. You can find them at cbc.ca/remembered. Next on The National, a new venue for musicians and fans to reunite during this pandemic.
We're like trying to make sure all of the artists get to the stage. They're just like, I've never used Minecraft before.
How video games could be the answer and why this pixelated fix could be here to stay. The pandemic has put an end to most public gatherings like concerts and festivals, and while it may not be business as usual, there are some unique solutions for these unprecedented times. This week, a Toronto band held 2 big drive-in concerts with more than 600 cars filled with music fans, and people in the UK gathered for a physically distant concert in a custom-built venue. Meanwhile, other concert spaces during the pandemic are entirely virtual. Tonight, a music festival is being held on Minecraft, a popular video game. As Eli Glasner shows us, musicians are finding different ways to try to connect with fans.
People of Minecraft!
There's a party in Minecraft tonight.
Are you ready to rock?
Lava Palooza, a music festival where everything is built out of the colorful blocks that players use in the shared gaming platform. Blocks this architecture student is using to bring concerts back to life, if the musicians remember to log in.
We're like trying to make sure all of the artists get to the stage, which is like, kind of complicated. They're just like, I've never used Minecraft before.
Max Schramp leads the team that creates virtual music festivals, attracting more than gamers.
The majority of the people who are attending our events are like fans of music and not gamers. So like lots of people will just buy Minecraft specifically for these events.
Inside, you'll find blocky versions of t-shirt vendors, music stages, even a mosh pit. Toronto music journalist Sam Sutherland went to a virtual show in April.
I literally felt like I was going to cry.
He says being able to explore the grounds, chat with friends, and discover hidden references to the musicians was powerful.
And that's really what we're all missing right now, is the opportunity to have a collective experience. It's an emotional release.
I get those goosebumps every time. I need the Heimlich.
In April, the industry got a sense of the potential when rapper Travis Scott presented a fantastical concert on the Fortnite platform, seen by more than 12 million people. This is the band Courier Club. When the pandemic canceled their tour, they created their own festival, Block by Block West. They didn't do it for the money. Most events are free. For them, it's about staying connected to the fans.
I think that this has value, because one thing it does is it knocks down monetary restrictions, it knocks down geographical restrictions.
I love Carly Rae! That accessibility is why many think virtual concerts will be here after the pandemic fades. Eli Glasner, CBC News, Toronto.
Next on The National, a birthday celebration in the sky.
Happy birthday to you. Have a great time.
A dream come true for this 90-year-old in Saskatoon. A nostalgic moment is tonight's moment. Jo Reed hopped aboard a Tiger Moth biplane when she was 18 years old. That was back in 1947. Her brother was her pilot. And Jo's dream ever since was to get up there again. And today, on her 90th birthday, that dream came true. 72 years later, she took to the skies in another Tiger Moth. That had to be our moment.
And is this the birthday flight?
This is so.
Can she hear me?
She can so.
Happy birthday to you. Have a great time.
It's a dream come true. I never thought that I'd have a chance to do it again. But when I heard there was one in the museum here and talked to my niece, she said, oh, I'll see if I can make that happen. And I've been counting so many sleeps till I get my flight.
So how long has it been since you're in a Tiger Moth?
I was there when I was 18 and I'm 90 now.
Well, that's a few years ago, so we're going to go have some fun if that works for you.
wonderful. And he didn't do any aerobatics, but tipped me off a few times. It was just so lovely out there. It's so quiet and beautiful.
So I'm not afraid of flying. In fact, I love being up in planes, but there's not a lot, it feels like, between the person who's sitting there and like the wide open sky. Her brother apparently so many years ago would try to get her to scream by doing loops, but as you heard here, a little bit more gentle, but still pretty exciting and a nice way to end the week's nationals. That is the program for August the 14th. See you Sunday.